Well, first ban out the gate. Renekton taken away from Darien. That's one of Darien's signature champions. He's been playing it for a very long time and super close up there of Darien on his screen for the time being. Thresh, this time taken away from TG as well as from Voidal. He doesn't tend to trend towards that Thresh.
I want to see, you know, what Mineski are going with this. It looks like just powerful champions all across the map here. They're going down bottom lane even now, taking out the Corki. Everyone knows how much Genja loves this these Trinity Force ADs.
So, Sona, I was going to say Zed and Ari still up and running. Of those, 2 of them still available. We might see Mineski maybe first pick at Sona. It's something we have seen multiple times as well.
Now, we have seen Zed given to only Reginald so far. Gambit could leave Zed up, but it does sort of show sort of some disrespect, I guess, when you leave that up against teams. Zed is up. Okay, there's an instant lock-in. They're going to go with it. We'll see how Mineski can actually perform with him because he is considered the premier assassin right now.
And the question is, what are Gambit going to do to counter? Now, we've actually seen Peke in EU trying to run Kennen mid to survive against Zed, and he's held off. It was against Alex as well. Alex, not really a Kennen player, but the point is there are some different options in dealing with Zed, and we'll see how they decide to play this
now,
out.
After just seeing that last Lissandra game, Lissandra does well against Zed. She can make herself immune at level 6, avoid the damage from Deathmark. She's a very good sort of soft counter to Zed.
Well, we'll see how Gambit decides to play this one out. Once again, first picking Elise. Didn't work out for them quite as effectively against Ozone, but it's good to see big smiles across the faces of all of the players that are flashing across your screen right now. Gambit definitely taking their time, talking it out, discussing what they want to lock in, but I do expect the Sona to be locked in for Voidal. Yeah. It is his strongest support by a long margin.
Like I said, before that last one, he was forced off Sona. He plays it every single game.
Yeah, it's definitely his preferred.
Crowd control is extremely strong against Zed too. His weakness is if you can lock him down with, you know, the Lissandra Frozen Tomb would be great, but also Crescendo. If you can land that Crescendo on him and burst him down quickly before he gets off a good combo, it's also a pretty good answer.
To be fair, it is a theory that works on most champions if you lock them with Crescendo.
If you lock them down and kill them before they can do anything,
that's next level.
You should try that strategy versus everybody.
We'll have to see how the rest of the team comp does line up here for Gambit, because Diamond Prox could run Elise. They could also give it to Darien. It's something that we see. Darien and Diamond actually share champion pools. You've seen the Aatrox has also been swapped and interchanged between them. As it stands right now, Mineski, they've locked in Zyra, they've locked in Lee Sin. So they're leaving their top laner and AD carry for their last 2 picks, waiting to see what the rest of Gambit are doing with their comp. I'm not believing. I'm not believing. Now, Gambit has played this. As a team, Gambit has played this. However, it was Spontex that used it when he was substituting for Darien. They actually put him in the mid lane. It didn't work out too well for them. It was a tough thing for Spontex to come in and do during week 3, I think it was, of the LCS. But this time around, it is going to swap over. More traditional pick in the Orianna. Actually,
you were mentioning the Orianna in the last Gambit game, wondering why they hadn't picked it before, because it was left up.
So Orianna is a champion Alex has fallen back on multiple times during the course of the split, and while he's not the most flashy Orianna player, he is incredibly proficient at it. When they played in Moscow, he survived situations with that command protect he should never have survived, and I'm happy to see him going back to it. I feel in the comp against Ozone, that would have solved their initiation problems.
It works very well with both Elise and with Aatrox. Aatrox is still up, with Mineski already locking in Lee Sin as well. I expect for them to bypass that Aatrox, so Gambit could essentially go with pretty much a very similar duo here with Darien and Diamond, go with the Elise Aatrox again. And this time, being backed up by the Orianna, who provides not only shield, magic resist, armor, she also has that shockwave that can come on for the initiate when you go in with one of those melee champions.
We'll see how they wrap that one out. Genja going to be going for that Trinity Force cog more, most likely, as it stands. Mineski really trying to feel out their options, toying with this idea of Needly. I believe that's locked in, if I'm not being mistaken. So potential top lane Needly could go AP, could go Bruiser, split push Needly. The question's going to be up to Snow what he wants to play.
There are definitely a lot of options now. Zed is also a top lane viable champion, but I'm definitely leaning towards the Bruiser Nidalee up top, running with Spirit Visage and an Iceborne Gauntlet. She is a split-pushing, tower-destroying machine that is incredibly hard to get out of lane because of the extra healing that she gets from that and all the cooldown reduction. Very, very difficult to deal with.
So the question now for Gambit, do they want Aatrox? And more importantly, where are they going to put that Elise? We have seen Darien running it in the top lane. We have seen Diamond running it in the jungle. And we have seen them both running Aatrox. So there may be a power struggle within Gambit saying, I want Aatrox. I want to have that blood well available. And we'll see who it's going to land in, because this is now the question.
All right, so locking that one in. At the moment, they're hovering over Diamond running the Elise this time. They could always switch that up. But I also like the Orianna shield versus any Zed. You can put that on the Zed target that he's looking to burst down as well to mitigate that one that you're trying to assassinate. Because Mineski's team right now, if it's a Bruiser Nidalee, they aren't the best at team fighting. So it's probably going to be split up here. They'll have this Nidalee that's incredibly hard to get out of lane. And then also Zed, who's a great duelist and strong split pusher himself, could even be a 3-1-1 situation.
So this is going to be a matchup that we haven't seen at all, the Aatrox versus Nidalee, and we're seeing it at Worlds. Let's take a look how you guys were voting as the teams load into the Rift. According to LOLesports.com, 92% of you think that Gambit will win this match.
I think that's 1% more for Mineski than they got last time. Last time they were only at 7%.
You are correct.
Now they're at 8%.
You are correct.
So they're slowly moving up.
The Kaigu fans are definitely jumping in. They're voting for Mineski. And, you know, we have seen them getting progressively better. This particular match, I think the pressure may be on Snoy's top lane Nidalee. I think as a champion, this is the first time we're seeing him here at Worlds. The onus on controlling Darien's Aatrox, which it has been locked in and confirmed, I think is really going to be crucial to this matchup.
All right, so they are going to switch up those two roles, but we already also talked about how important this game is for Gambit. After losing to Ozone, they need every win that they can get.
So 3 wins and 2 losses, or 2 wins and 3 losses, if my memory serves me correctly. I'll double check the numbers in a moment. They're sitting below Ozone right now, and as we said, if they win every single game from here on out, this is Gambit, they will tie up with Fnatic. But for Mineski, here on the blue side, if they have one more loss, it basically guarantees they cannot make it out of the group stages. So pressure is definitely on. We are into game number 3 here at Worlds Day 4. Now Gambit trying to bounce back from their earlier loss to Ozone.
I think Gambit and Ozone are tied right now. So if they did lose, then they'd drop below them. They definitely don't want to do that.
Well, as it stands, all of Gambit set up very defensively. You can see each of those entrances basically being guarded off. They don't want anyone to get in or get around. Just having a quick look at Snoy's masteries right now. Just a single point of ability power. Decent MR armor to boot. So at this point in time, looking like it could go towards that Bruiser Nidalee that we've seen many times in the past.
Meanwhile, mid, they've got Yume going with the Doran shield. Definitely looking to farm through the early stages instead of starting with a red elixir for the early kills. Orianna is hard to take advantage of that early, especially when you have to worry about an Elise coming out of the jungle. Diamond does make his most frequent visits to the mid lane.
So this is the 3rd Zed of Worlds. First time that Yume has been allowed to use it. And remember that Gambit let this one go through. They did not ban. Now their final ban was Nocturne, targeting that at Kaigu, and he switched over to another comfort pick, Lee Sin, which he played many times during the qualifiers here for Worlds.
I believe Zed has a 100% win rate too.
Yes, correct. I was going to highlight that. And I thought, well, it's kind of a skewed stat when only one dude played him. But the rest of the games has been banned out. As it stands, very slow beginning for both of these teams. No deep wards at all. In actual fact, Mineski, they've warded fairly shallow in the river to warn of any sort of Gambit invades. Diamond Prox going to tank up that red buff. He secured that one for himself.
Look at this bush they're hiding in here. This is sort of the Fnatic bush, I guess, for Gambit. They're trying to get the early advantage, but Genji gets out just as EXO arrives.
Well, one of the things that we've also seen Darien doing was camping in that top bush with Aatrox. He was hiding, getting experience back, and maybe this is one of the outcomes of the Gambit bootcamp. A tactical decision of when to hide and leech XP and when not to. But we are going to see another straight up 2v2 and 1v1, 3rd time today.
And in the 2v2 on Mineski here, TG has opted for no pink wards. So there's no way that he's going to be able assure themselves that they have side bush control. So it should be fairly easy for Genja and Voidal to dodge those skill shots. They won't be coming out of blind, out of those bushes, and they won't also have to be worrying about Lee Sin Kanks coming through the side.
Well, I'll see how well it works out for them. Genja is going to need to avoid that Mystic Shard. TG and Exo doing the best they can to apply some poke, thanks to Voidal and Genja having that slight level advantage until this very second. They're going to be able to sustain any of that poke that comes down. TG not as effective as we've seen on the poking that Yellow Star was.
And since Voidal did go with Pink Ward, whereas TG bypassed them, that means that the gank potential is all for Gambit in this bottom lane.
Well, we'll see how this potential gank works out for Kaigu. He roamed to the top, was unable to help Snoy out. There's no Wraith Camp to steal, so that Sonic Wave is going to go all right. Continues to try to find opportunities, jumps onto Yume's back, but he's going to go farm up his own Wraith Camp as we see Diamond Prox now trying to wait in the wings. A lot of damage from Alex onto Yume.
Yeah, Diamond has just farmed up all of his small camps first. So now he's in the position to make a move. But because Alex is bullying so hard with those auto attacks, Yume's not getting far enough up to gank.
Yume 15 CS to the 23 of Alex Hitches. Both of those junglers have moved away. You do see that now. Kaigu trying to once again find opportunities. He's on bottom. As we look top lane here, Snoy gets jumped on by Tarion. Does manage to avoid the knockup, but eats the Blades of Torment, and that's a level 3 Blades of Torment. So Darien definitely maxing that one first, or level 2 as it were. In the bot lane, just trading. Once again, blows. That's a flash forward into exhaust. Here comes Kaigu. Genja is going to move forward. He's going to get that Caustic Spittle down. Sidestep to Sonic Wave. First blood secured by Exo. And do you see that? Icathian Surprise. Going to put some damage down. Not going to be enough to secure any kills. And this happened the first time Mineski and Gambit played as well.
Well, Pink Wards don't matter. Lee Sin comes in through the Tri-Bush. There were 0 wards there from Voidal in the Tri-Bush area. So while they had something in the side bush for the side Lee Sin ganks, he just came with the most common route of any jungler for ganking. Run right through the Tri-Bush. Genja and Voidal push up too far.
Now Alex in a little bit of trouble as he was collapsed on by Yume and Kaigu, but Yume no energy and not enough HP to actually stick around. He was forced backwards. So Mineski, an early advantage. Now Exo is going to fall back, start to pick up some items. We'll see how he decides to prioritize an instant phage coming back into the lane. That should give him great ample opportunity to be mobile and get some damage down into Genja. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Look at Kaigu. Attack and distance shreds more than half his HP, and now Alex continues to focus down on those auto attacks. A lot of damage onto Kaigu's Lee Sin. He wasn't anticipating that at all.
Yeah, the mid here definitely going heavily in Alex's favor. Crushing in CS, plus just now forcing Yume back once again. That lead's only going to increase. Down bottom, though, again, let's shout out that TG, that flash route there from him, setting up that gank. Beautiful start there for Mineski. Even with that, though, because of the CS differences, they're still behind in gold.
Well, there's a fairly decent wave here that Exo can start to farm up. Start securing those last hits and trying to use that phage movement speed to control the battlefield here. Remember, Genja only sitting on those double Dorans. Decided to go for Doran's Blades this time, as opposed to the shield that we've seen from the previous game. Snoy, level 6. This is Darian's level 6. They're trading some blows back and forth, but look at that blood price, really giving him HP back.
That's, whenever you're below 50%, that's that triple heal right there. Aatrox actually stacks up very well against a Bruiser Nidalee as well, because Darian started with the Doran shield. The early harass from Nidalee is heavily AD, so that's all going to be reduced by that Doran shield, and his sustain by just auto-attacking minion waves and shoving the minion waves is going to keep him up there until he's shoved out by a gank from Kaigu.
As it stands right now, Gambit with a CS advantage in all of their lanes. 60 to 40 in the top lane, 57 to 39 in the mid lane, 55 to 51 in the bottom lane. Mechanically, this is something that Gambit did the first time they played. They stayed even with Mineski until the 13-14 minute mark, then went for Dragon, and then took control of the match.
The top lane discrepancy is not really even a mechanical thing either. That's just Snoy last picking Nidalee into Aatrox and going with the auto-harass champion who's going to have a hard time controlling minion waves, whereas Aatrox just destroys minion waves when he maxes his E, and he's constantly auto-attacking to sustain himself up.
So great pickup here for Gambit. We'll have to see whether or not this needly does work out. First blue buff has been donated to Alex, with Pink Ward controlling this bottom lane. TG and EXO are going to get some support from Kaigu's Lee Sin. 33 CS right now. He was involved in that first blood. Decides to back away for the time being. The wave is too push. Gambit playing too defensively and too safe for that to really work out right now.
Not too much action here from Diamond either. He'll head down now, but this is a very mobile dual lane, and Zyra's flash has only about 30 seconds to come back.
Snoy's in trouble. Barrier is going to survive for the time being. Dropped to 100 HP, and Darren decides not to use that Bloodwell passive, but winning the 1v1, clearly, that was basically a tower dive.
Very clearly. And Aatrox, he thrives on being at that low health, the 50% to anything under that, because his abilities, they cost current health to cast, so they get cheaper to cast the lower you are. And then he can easily heal back up with that blood price. And he can rely on that passive for tower dives. Now that he's burned that barrier already from Snoy, Snoy's really going to have to watch himself.
So Diamondprox is able to solo the dragon there, and around about 9 minutes. Some gold claps from around the audience here as they pick that one up on the screen. So gold advantage in favor of Gambit. You can see Diamond still, he's looking to set up his first gank. He hasn't really been in a position to jump on anybody, but he's farming well. 39-36 and a dragon. I think we can let him off the hook for not being involved in any of the kills. You do see now trying to set one up, throws up the volatile, lands a cocoon, sinks his fangs into Kaigu with the red buff up. He's taking a lot of damage, but there's no support from Alex Edge, so decides to back away. He doesn't want to run the risk of being jumped on by Death.
Flash Crescendo!
Flash Crescendo from Voidal. We do see the Void who's coming down. EXO is going to be able to get away thanks to a very good Stranglethorns. True Shot Barrage farms up the entire minion wave. There's a low HP warning as Genja tanks up a couple more turret hits. Diamondprox toying with the idea of getting involved, but TG's going to get away with his life. Now, that's with a, would you call a phage an item advantage in favor of EXO and TG? Gambit doing well in the 2v2.
Well, Gambit right there, they used the Flash Crescendo to get the harass down first. They traded Flash and Ultimates on both supports, but because they got the damage down, forced Mineski out of lane, and Diamond had done the same thing in the jungle, initiating on to Kaigu, so they have complete control here, getting a lot of damage onto this bottom turret.
Down to less than a third HP. Genja's going to continue farming up. Only a 4 CS advantage right now, but definitely an advantageous position to be in. If Diamond sticks around, Genja, him, and Voidal may be able to take a tower up. There's no one from Mineski able to get in position to defend it. Instead, they're just going to allow the tower to deny CS. Darien was at 50% HP to the 100 of Snoy when we last seen them, and he's been able to chunk Snoy down thanks to some great itemization. He's got a pickaxe, a longsword, and a vamp scepter to add to his immense lifesteal already.
Yeah, he'll usually be at 50% HP because he loves to walk that line between life and death.
Well, luckily, thanks to having that Bloodwell, the line's a little easier to walk.
He's got 2 chances there.
He's got a few chances to trip and fall. As it stands, 112 CS to 77. Snoy's Needly, which was the last pick for Mineski as well before Darien locked in that Aatrox. Not really paying dividends in the laning phase. He's got that phage completed, working towards Trinity Force. Kaigu is now in the area and may decide to jump in here. Snoy is going to pounce down. You see Darren instantly getting away with that Dark Flight, and he gets out clean. He's not even burning anything major.
I really like how Darien goes into Hydra as well. It gives Aatrox even more wave control. Both of his damaging abilities are already area of effect. He can instantly clear a wave with both abilities and one Hydra proc with an attack. It just turns Aatrox into such a split-pushing monster.
Split pushing, definitely the name of the game for many of the European teams. Gambit, having played against so many of them, know how to deal with it. They're looking good when you compare how heavily they lost to Ozone earlier today. Genja, with that living artillery, is really keeping EXO's HP down. He's got that Sheen, but no real life sustain without the Mastery's runes, and of course that single Doran's Blade. So whatever poke gets landed, it lasts significantly longer.
Kaigu's coming bottom, but there's no flash this time for TG because he had to burn it defensively. So the initiate will be much harder for Mineski this time around. And here comes Diamond.
So there goes the Spiderling, instantly flashed away by Kaigu. Doesn't get caught out by that Cocoon. And Genja, I'm pretty sure, was basically 1v2ing there. We do see Deathmark going down in this mid lane. Yume doing the best he can to survive. He follows it up, gets caught by the shockwave. Couple auto attacks from Alexic, and Yume forced to flash backwards. Now all of a sudden, Kaigu's the next target here for Gambit. A decent route is going to hold Diamond Prox in place as EXO and TG try to respond. Sonic Wave goes out, not going to be followed up by Kaigu, but they get caught by a double crescendo. We immediately flick back. Now True Shot Barrage comes down, is avoided by Diamond Prox's great repel. Now he turns his focus over to EXO as TG was taken down in the background, and a tower is secured in the mid lane. Gambit really turning it on when it counts.
Because Diamond has the upper hand on Kaigu right now with the completed Spirit Stone, he is exerting his pressure over this jungle, keeps on returning and finding Kaigu in his own jungle, chunking him down so that the rest of Gambit can collapse into the jungle and gain more advantage from that. They do take away the red buff after that kill as well.
So not only do they have the red buff, they have a kill, they have 2 towers, they've already picked up a dragon, and there is a Ravenous Hydra completed for Darian's Aatrox. So if at any point he picks a fight with Schnoi, kill potential is going to be even higher. Dragon's up in 52 seconds, and I would imagine many members of Gambit will be responding to try to secure this.
Yume is looking to take away this blue buff, and after the last engage that he did mid, that was a very half-hearted death mark that he put onto Alex. You could already tell he was hesitating and didn't really want to go in because he knew that he didn't have enough to finish off this Orianna who's rushed the arm guard. Now that he's got the blue buff, he does have extra cooldown reduction and more damage, but Darian hasn't escaped.
He's definitely picking a fight. Gonna dogfight over the wall. Snoi has decided to follow suit. Now Flash is still available for Darian. He is gonna flash the tree line. Now Kaigu has caught him out. Darian turns his damage over to Kaigu, gets a lot of lifesteal back, and the Cocoon does not land. We did see an Ignite coming down from Darian onto Kaigu.
Very good job not chasing there by Kaigu. It's deceptive when you get Aatrox low because he heals for so much and because he can get back up from that passive. Alex would have turned that around in Gambit's favor.
Well, the rest of Gambit right now grouped up towards that bottom half of the map. Diamond Prox and Voidal, they clear out the wards in the Dragon Pit, and they're going to drop this one down. The minion Spiderlings are tanking up most of the Dragon damage, so Diamond Prox mostly untouched. True Shot Barrage lands, doesn't secure it though.
Because of Darian's run through the top lane there and his long run around through blue buff, he got so much of Mineski's attention that Diamond didn't hesitate, used that time to distract Mineski, go get the dragon again.
Well, Darian right now 170 CS, tied with Alexic on 170 CS. Alex has gone for the Haunting Guys to supplement his Tear of the Goddess. Yume definitely thinking about a fight, and with the help of Kaigu, they may have enough damage, but Alex, he's not intimidated at all. He has a 4-level advantage over Kaigu's Lee.
All that he has to worry about is Zed plus Lee Sin combo, so he's rushed that arm guard for the early armor, and then he's going with very early items here with the Haunting Guys. Darian now, he has to wait till that Q drops off.
Yume just gets bursted down. Now Darian throws down the Massacre. This is 1v2. Schnoi has no mana, but in the Cougar form, he's not going to cost a lot. Diamond Prox is going to repel up. Does land Cocoon? Is it going to connect? That's the question. Schnoi gets caught out. Blades of Torment lands as well. They're going to tower dive this one. Bloodwell is available. Schnoi throws down the barrier. He tries to pounce away. 200 HP as Darian lands the slow. That's going to secure it. And Darian gets out after lane cutting, pulling the attention, and makes it work. Now all of a sudden, Genji and Voidal turn the focus onto EXO and TG.
Oh,
we do see Voidal just gets deleted by the True Shot Barrages. EXO, Arcane shifts forwards. That's a double kill, 2v2 win in favor of Mineski.
Very, very, very clean play there from the Mineski bottom lane. Alex doesn't want to let them get away from it, but he's in between a Zed and a turret.
Deathmark is available. Here comes Yume. Essence Flux does land. Command Protector's up, giving that bonus armor as EXO spams out those arcane shifts. But now Kaigu, he wants to get involved. EXO hasn't given up yet. He's going to think about the arcane shift.
No.
Lands the Mystic Shots and backs away. I think that was the right decision.
Yeah, he thought about it. He made the right decision there. Darian, by the way, just want to say he's got very good accuracy with his Blades of Torment. So this is the crescendo initiate, and then Exo, he takes the initial burst from Kog'Maw, but barriers it and is able to flash out and ultimate right back over Voidal, timed perfectly with TG's knockup from the Stranglethorns. And here, he able to re-engage onto Genja. Zyra also living because of her flash.
So importantly, Zyra just able to sidestep that crescendo. If the Stranglethorns hadn't landed, it could have been a very, very different fight. So 3-3 on the kills, but Gambit are 7,000 gold ahead right now. Massive, massive lead. You can see 2,300 in the top lane, 2,300 in the mid lane as well. And your 80 carries, as we highlighted, Exo 3-0. But he's the only shining light for Mineski right now.
And he's down in CS. It's really Diamond again, going into the enemy jungle.
Here comes Exo, Sonic Wave lands, Resonating Strike follows up, Kaigu, Dragon's Rage kicks him in the head to secure the kill. Genja's definitely thinking about picking a fight here, even without Voidal. That's the first kill of the game going to a member not being Exo on the Mineski squad.
So a couple skirmishes going in Mineski's favor, but they're down so much CS. They're so far behind in gold here. The CS and the turrets are really, really hurting them. Aatrox is amazing as well at taking down those turrets because for every percentage in that passive, it also gives them attack speed.
Decides not to use the Massacre for that one. Darian and Alex going to be able to close out their tower. In the bottom lane, Diamondprox and Genja, they're keeping control of the bottom half of the map. Red buff has spawned, but Diamondprox is going to take that one away. And now Genja, 176 CS. With his Trinity Force completed, he's trying to get in range of the tower. You can see Snoy hopping over that wall, but he doesn't have his Triforce just yet. Big golem secured there for Exos. Now Genja and Diamond, once again, they're just hanging around this jungle. They're trying to find a way into an engagement. And Mineski haven't really been out of position just yet.
Mineski really have to concentrate their efforts in one area right now. Darien, like we said, was going to become a split-pushing beast with that Hydra. He's actually gone into against his Rage Blade, just so when he does get low, he's going to get that extra sustain. So it's very, very... Oh, well, Yume's on the run here.
Going to be in a little bit of trouble. Here comes Darian. He's going to get the Blades of Torment. There's splash damage available. Doesn't manage to get the knock-up, though. Yume is in a little bit of trouble as he throws the Deathmark down into Voidal. But that's even not a lot of damage. Yume just gets bursted down. No shockwave used. Massacre was the only ultimate that was thrown down from Gambit. You see Crescendo's not available as well. That was used to initiate the fight. The rest of Gambit now stacking up here on this top inner turret. The slow catches Snoy and Kaigu.
Oh!
They instantly delete him. Knockup lands onto Kaigu. Now he's the next target. That's a double kill for Voidal. Channeling is in Edward and picking up 2 kills on Sona. Great play here from Gambit.
Yeah, and again, about that Rage Blade, that's Darien going with the very fun build with Aatrox. Because when you get below 50% speed, I was going to say it's more misleading. He gets even more attack speed and more spell vamp and more lifesteal.
We do see Diamondprox was caught out. He's repelled the True Shot Barrage for the second time this game. The rest of Gambit are trying to shut down the tower. TG gets caught by a Shockwave, and we see Diamondprox sinking his fangs in for the kill. Diamond once more. Blades of Torment goes up. Lands it at the tip. The Arcane Shift not even enough to get away. Yume and Kaigu now the next 2 to try and defend.
That accuracy with Blades of Torment I was talking about. It goes so small at the end of the skill shot there to be able to consistently land those. Darien is just spot on.
Yeah, really, really great play here from Gambit. They've secured the first inhibitor turret of the game in the top lane. They picked up the inhibitor in the mid lane. There is an exposed inhibitor in the top lane. They haven't given up. That's a double knockup as now Kaigu forced to kick him away. Voidal picks up his 4th kill of the game. That's 4, 2, and 2. And now Gambit looking to close this one out. 22 minutes on the clock. Darien still has his blood well if he needs to tank it up. Snoy on the sideline throwing out those javelins, and it's not going to be enough. Gambit decide to err on the side of caution. They have backed away. Stranglethorns is not available for use here if Mineski tried to re-engage. And Gambit, they're still just relying on Sona's sustain. Voidal gets shut down. Exo with the Essence Flux. Now this is a messy fight. Snoy has flashed forward. He's jumped onto Genja. He's been dropped 1v3. And in the background, Darien's flashed away. Bloodwell gets popped. Exo landing every skill shot he needs to. Now all of a sudden, Alex is in trouble. Deathmark should pick this one up. Yume manages to land that. Gets out cleanly with that Living Shadow. And Gambit, they definitely stuck around far too long.
little bit too long there, but they did demolish the base of Mineski. And we did also get to see Darian's 0.96 attack speed in action, up to 1.63 there at one point.
Well, right now, Darian is just so far ahead. He's picked himself up a Guardian Angel. His Bloodwell was taken down, so now he realizes he needs to change it.
Up.
Build a G8. The rest of the items along the board, there is such a disparity. Zonya's Hourglass plus Archangel Staff completed for Alex. BF Sword as well as the Cloak of Agility and the completed Trinity Force for Genja. Exo's trying to go for a Brutalizer because he needs power now.
This is just, when all the lanes are stronger, when every lane wins, it pretty much guarantees the end of the game is going to be like a 3-1-1 split push or whatever you decide to divide your champions into. They can shove all 3 lanes.
Snoy's in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, he doesn't manage to land the pounce. Does get caught by the slow. But for the second time, and Snoy unable to get away from Genja and Darren. And even if he had, Darren would have just flown over the wall and secured himself the kill. This needly 0 for 1 really not working out for Mineski. The numbers advantage, Gambit are stacking towards that top exposed inhibitor. That's got to be their next target if you were a member of Gambit's.
Brilliant tactician there. They're definitely going to go for the exposed inhibitor here. Up a man as well. 10 more seconds so Nidalee gets back in.
Exo is just taking so much damage. Stranglethorns comes down once again, catching only TG. We do see slowed in places. A slam dunk from Darian. Manages to land the damage. Alex continues to solo out the kill onto Exo. He's forced back, actually. Does manage to survive. Gambit has picked up 2 kills this fight, and with super minions on the Nexus turrets, this should be a good game. They've got so many minions to deal with. A decent Javelin toss goes through, and Genja is forced backwards. But Darian, with great attack speed and attack damage, should be able to kill these Nexus turrets fairly easily. This second last turret of the game is going to fall now. Crescendo did go out. They managed to land it on Snoy and pick up a kill. And Gambit, with a textbook closing out the game here, going to finish off this Nexus. Shockwave was used by Alex in the previous fight, and a very, very convincing win here for Gambit. Put Mineski at 0-5, and Gambit holding on to the potential of making out of the groups.
Able to win all the lanes. Diamond also able to invade jungle and chunk down Kaigu in his own jungle. That set up the rest of the lanes for plays down there, especially bottom being able to take that early turret. Too much of a goal disadvantage to come back from.
Yeah, and the one thing you have to highlight again, Mineski, they have the ability to make plays, but they're not doing it early enough. It was the same thing against Vulcan. Vulcan, it was fairly passive for a long time, and it was only after a couple of team fights had taken place that Mineski stood up and shone. And similarly here, they fell too far behind.